students. I welcome you all for the next class. I know you all are enjoying the subject now, getting busy scheduled with all the virtual classes and doing homework regularly, asking for doubts. Both the teachers and the students are packed anyways. And last class we were learning about subshell configuration, how to write a short form configuration, and also about some exceptional configuration, that is chromium and copper. We also saw the reason, and I want any one of you to give me the answer why chromium and copper are showing different configuration, that is a stable configuration. Is anybody? Yes, because the D5 and D10 subshells are more stable, that is the partly filled and the completely filled subshells are more stable. We know chromium and copper takes up the D5 and D10 configuration. So that's why they show a peculiarity in their configuration. Okay, so now this configuration is going to help us to learn more about the periodic table. We have been hearing about periodic table from our lower classes, right? We used to see color boxes somewhere and all elements present here and there. Actually, to be frank, we are surrounded by chemistry. Now, whatever you do, that is you drink water, it has got hydrogen and oxygen. You take in oxygen, you give out carbon dioxide, right? You have sugar, now that also has carbon, hydrogen and oxygen. You take salt, salt also contains sodium and chlorine atoms. So everywhere there is a role for chemistry. Have you ever thought about it? Now where are these elements? Because we don't see these atoms with our naked eyes. Only through microscope we can see how these tiny atoms, subatomic particles are present inside. So now they have designed a beautiful table for all of us to study about the various elements in the periodic table. So that was Mendeleev periodic table, and also we have modern periodic table. Now the picture in front of you, you can see a periodic table which has got 4 different blocks, that is S, P, D and F. So you can see S block, P block, D block and F block. And if you can see more clearly, the first and second group, that is under S block, you can see 1 and 2 written, that is for the S block element. So group 1 and 2 belong to S block. And from 3 to 12, it is for D block. You have 10 groups under D block, that is from 3 to 12. And from 13 to 18, it is P block. That is 6 groups are there, 13 to 18. And also you can see F block, which is kept just below the periodic table. There are 2 rows. So now you have some horizontal and vertical columns, right? So vertical columns are called as groups. What do we call the vertical columns as? Groups. So vertical columns, you have 18 columns, which means you have 18 groups. And you can see horizontal rows, which are called as periods. So you have horizontal rows, which are called as periods, and vertical columns, which are called as groups. So now today's class, we are going to study how to find out the block, period and group of an element. So what is the learning objective for today? We are going to learn about the block, period and group of an element. How we can find out. So let us refer to our textbook where some of the questions are given. So we are going to solve one by one and we are going to write the configuration. Writing the subshell configuration will help us to find out the block of the element, and also we are going to do about the period and the group. Shall we start, children? Yes. Now I hope you have your notebook in front of you. If you don't have textbook, just copy the question whatever I am writing on the board. Okay. So let's start now. The first element given is lithium. Lithium has got atomic number 3. Right? So the atomic number of lithium is 3. How do we write the configuration? We have been writing so many configurations. So by now, I think you all should be thorough enough, that is, you all should be smart enough to write the subshell electronic configuration. So how do we write now? 1s2 and 2s1. Am I right? Because how many electrons we need? We need only 3 electrons. So it becomes 2 plus 1, 3. So this is the subshell electronic configuration. Now what is asked here? The subshell to which the last electron is added. Now which is the last electron in these two? This is my last electron. So the subshell to which the last electron is added. This electron gets into which subshell? It is S subshell. So I will write here S. Okay. Now what is my next question? The next question is magnesium 12. So how do I write? The atomic number is 12 here, and I will write 1s2, 2s2, 2p6, 3s2. Am I right? So it has 1s2, 2s2, 2p6, 3s2. Now again find out the subshell to which the last electron gets added. Now you can see this is the last 2 electrons which get added to the S subshell. So I write here S. Now let me take one more example, that is nitrogen having atomic number 7. So how will I write now? 1s2, 2s2, 2p3. P subshell can take 6 electrons, but already I have 4 here. I need 7, so I put 3 here. So now the last electron is getting into which subshell? Whether S or P, it is getting into the P subshell. So I write here P. So now tell me, the last electron in lithium gets into which subshell? It is S. The last electron in nitrogen gets into which subshell? P. So the last electron to which subshell it gets into defines the block of the element. So which is the block of the element? The block of the element will be same as the subshell to which the last electron gets added. If my last electron gets added to S subshell, lithium belongs to S block. The last electron gets into again S subshell, magnesium belongs to S block. Now the last electron of nitrogen is getting into P subshell, so nitrogen belongs to which block? S or P? P block. So I think now you got an idea how the block of an element can be found out, right? So the block of the element is same as the subshell to which the last electron gets added. Okay children, so we were seeing how should we find out the block of an element. That is the last electron to whichever subshell it gets into, that shows the block of the element. So here we are going to see some more elements, how the block can be found out, whether it is really a correct statement, that is the electrons, the last subshell, that is the block of the element. So we will try these elements. Now here you can see scandium with atomic number 21. So how do we write the subshell configuration? We will write 1s2, 2s2, 2p6. After 2p6, we will go to the third shell, 3s2, 3p6. Then after that we have 4s2 and 3d Am I right? Because scandium is a d block element. So whenever we are writing a d block element, we should remember 4s energy level is less than that of 3d. So after 3p, we will be writing 4s subshell, then we will get into our 3d subshell. Now we'll see the last electron to which subshell it is getting into. Here you can see it gets into my 3d subshell. So here 3d, so it is my d subshell. So naturally scandium will be which block element? It is a d block element. I hope you are able to understand, children. Connect the last electron to whichever subshell it gets into. That will be giving the block of the element. Now we'll see for argon. Argon 18. Argon 18, I know you all remember this. It's a noble gas. We were using argon for writing our short form configuration. Right. So now we will write the subshell configuration for argon. It is 1s2, and I hope you all are writing in your notebook. Are you all writing with me, children? Yes, please write along with me. 1s2, 2s2, 2p6, 3s2 and 3p6. So this is the configuration for argon. Now tell me the electron which subshell it gets into. That is, the last electron is getting into which subshell? We have our p subshell. So it is p subshell. So argon belongs to p block. We shall write the subshell configuration for beryllium. Beryllium has got atomic number 4. So how do we write the subshell configuration? Yes, we will write 1s2, 2s2. So how many electrons do we need? We need 4 electrons, and these 4 electrons get into 1s subshell and 2s subshell. Now the question is the subshell to which my last electron gets into. And you can see here the last electron is getting into my s subshell. So here we will write s, and the block will also be s. So now we have clearly understood that the subshell to which the last electron gets into is the block of the element. Now we have something more interesting, which is to find out the period of the element. As I told you before, we have 4 main shells, K, L, M and N, which is having various energy levels, that is 1, 2, 3 and 4. Each shell number according to their energy level has different subshells, that is 1s, 2s, 2p, 3s, 3p, 3d, 4s, 4p, 4d and 4f. Now we are going to use this subshell configuration to find out the period of the element. Now all of you carefully listen. How to find out the period of the element? Once we write the subshell configuration, we know how many subshells are there, what are their shell numbers. Like for scandium, we have first shell, we have second shell, we have third shell and we have our fourth shell. Right? Now once writing the subshell configuration, find out the highest shell number. Now you must be very careful when you are writing a D block element. As I have been reminding you before, when we write a D block element, we used to write 4s first and then we will write 3d. But normally what mistake we do is we look at the last electron and we see the shell number. But that is absolutely wrong. Because we have 4s here, that will be my highest shell number. Don't ever consider, children, when we are writing the last electron, the subshell to which the last electron is added, it is not my highest shell number. Because in case of D block elements, the highest shell number may come before the 3D. So always remember whenever we are writing D block element, be very careful, check twice or thrice whether you have mentioned the highest shell number, because D block element starts from the 4th period. So what happens here? My shell number is 4, highest shell number. So the period to which scandium belongs is the 4th period. Are you able to follow, children? I'll give 2 more examples so that you can understand much better. Now let's consider argon. In argon, what happens? Here you have written 1s2, 2s2, 2p6, 3s2, 3p6. So what happens here? The highest shell number becomes 3. That is, you have first shell, second shell and the third shell. Right? Since 3 is the highest shell number, I can say argon belongs to my 3rd period. Is that clear? Now next, we are going to see with beryllium. Beryllium has got atomic number 4, which is 1s2, 2s2. Now when you consider the highest shell number, this is my first shell and this is my second shell. So since I have my second shell, that is 2s2, I'll be writing here the highest period is 2. So which says that beryllium belongs to my 2nd period. So we have learned to find out the block of the element. Also we have find out the period of the element. Now we are going to find out how to determine the group of the element. Now if you see here the table given here, we have 4 elements given. Also their subshell electronic configurations I have written. Now we are going to see to which group do they belong to. Now I would like to just recollect what we saw in the beginning of the class. I told you S block, because we are considering here S block elements. So S block has got only 2 groups, that is 1 and 2. So S block has got how many groups? Just 2 groups. So we are going to see, given any element, if it belongs to S block, it should be either in the first group or in the second group. I repeat, if you get an element as S block, it can be a first group element or a second group element. So let's see how we can find out. My first element given here is lithium. Lithium, once I write my configuration, it is 1s2, 2s1. It is asked here the number of electrons in the last subshell. Now 2s is my last subshell. How many electrons are present here? I have 1 electron that is present in my 2s subshell. So I write here 1 electron, which will be the group of the element. That shows lithium is a first group element. You are able to understand, children? I'll give one more example. Now sodium has got 1s2, 2s2, 2p6, 3s1. Now how many electrons are there in the last subshell? I have only 1 electron. So I write here 1. That will be my group of the element. So sodium also belongs to my first group of S block. Now I am getting into my third element, that is magnesium. So magnesium has atomic number 12. So the configuration is 1s2, 2s2, 2p6 and 3s2. How many electrons are there in the S subshell? I have 2 electrons in my S subshell. So I write here 2 and the group will also be 2. Is that clear? Now here the last question is calcium 20. Now what is the configuration here? 1s2, 2s2, 2p6, 3s2, 3p6 and 4s2. Again, how many electrons are there in my last subshell? I have 2 electrons. So my calcium belongs to which group? Second group. So it is very clear from this table that the number of electrons that is present in the last subshell will be the group of the element. I repeat again, whatever may be the number of electrons present in the last subshell, that will be the group of element. And this is considered only for S block elements, because all these are S block elements. So now we know how to find out the block. How were we finding out the block of the element? The subshell to which the last electron is added, getting filled, is the block of the element. And how we found out the period? The highest shell number is the period of the element. And how did you find out the group? The number of electron present in the last subshell of an S block element gives the group of the element. As we know, S block has got only two groups, so the given element should be either in the first group or in my second group. So from this table, it is clear lithium and sodium belongs to my first group, magnesium and calcium belong to my second group. Now, the most important is the characteristic features of S block element. Now, you remember I have told you S block element has got two groups, that is group 1 and group 2. Now, group 1 elements are called as alkali metals and group 2 elements are called alkaline earth metals. So, when I say alkali metals, lithium, sodium, all of them they come under group 1 elements. And when I say alkaline earth metals, magnesium, calcium, all of them they come under alkaline earth metals. So when I say metals, you must have learned in your lower classes, metals lose electrons. Am I right? They donate electrons. So when they donate electrons, they become a cation or an anion. Yes, they become a cation. They become positively charged. So here group 1 elements lose 1 electron, so they become +1 oxidation state. I repeat, group 1 elements can lose only 1 electron which is present in the last subshell and become +1 charge, that is oxidation state. They lose electrons. Group 2 elements can lose 2 electrons that are present in the last subshell to get a +2 oxidation state. You are able to get me, children? The first group element lose 1 electron to become +1 oxidation state. Group 2 element lose 2 electrons to become +2 oxidation state. Then what about the bond that is formed? Since there is a transfer of electron taking place, they form an ionic bond. This group 1 or I say S block elements, they are very good in forming ionic bond because there is no mutual sharing, there is a transfer of electrons taking place. So these are the important features of S block elements. Other than that, we have ionization energy and electronegativity. If you can just recollect, what is ionization energy? What is ionization energy? Now I know there is a nucleus in the center and there are so many shells that are surrounding the nucleus. So what happens at that time? Just recollect, children, ionization energy is the energy required to remove the outermost electron from a loosely bounded atom. So what happens there? It is just like I have a nucleus here and I have my shells, right? Now this is my nucleus. I have electrons everywhere. This is my last shell. So if I have an electron here, now the amount of energy required to remove the loosely bounded electron from an isolated atom is called as ionization energy. Now imagine if the nucleus is far away from the outermost shell, the attraction between the electron and That is, nucleus is having very little attraction to the electron present in the outermost shell. So what will happen to the energy? Do I need more energy or less energy? I need only very less energy because this attraction is less, so this electron is free, not that much attracted to the nucleus. So I need very less energy to remove the outermost electron. So when we go down the group, say this is my S block, I have group 1 and group 2. When I go down the group, what happens? The number of shells actually increases. When the number of shells increases, the last electron will be far away from the nucleus. When it is far away from the nucleus, I need very less energy to remove the electron. But here, if I have to remove this electron which is closer to the nucleus, my ionization energy will be more. So what happens? We say ionization energy decreases down the group. You need very less energy when you go down the group to remove the electron. So that is in case of ionization energy. What is electronegativity? This is another term which you have studied. Electronegativity. Electronegativity means tendency to attract an electron. Now we know group 1 and group 2 elements are metals. So metals, they don't want electrons, instead they are good in donating electrons. They want to give the electrons. So the electronegativity for S block elements will be very less. Since they want to give electrons, they don't need electrons, they have less electronegativity. And since they are metals, we know they are malleable, they are ductile, they are good conductors of electricity. So these are some of the important properties of S block elements. I hope children, you all are having a good recollection of what has been happening throughout this session. Please recollect what has been done in this class. Write the corresponding notes wherever you require, and if you have doubts, kindly ask your doubts then and there. Okay. Thank you so much children. Eagerly waiting to see you in the next class. Thank you.